All right, let's do it live on a Friday edition. He's back in the Z-Woad black and bright blue.
How about a little Sneed?
Little Sneed hat on there.
For the people.
Boy, wait a second. Hold on. That is the brand of quarter zip of the legendary congressional quarter zips, the orange ones. That's zero restriction.
You're absolutely right.
Oh, I know my leisure wear.
Yeah,
athleisure. I know it well.
Yeah, the black and the blue.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on.
Jeez.
Come on. Hey.
How'd you do? Good to see you.
Good to see you, dude. Good to see you. It is, it'd be probably been a bit of a misnomer, exaggeration. I say great to be back.
Not great. No, you're on a golf trip. You're on a golf trip.
A heck of a time.
Hell of a time.
But it is lovely to be back. I'm happy to report, though, or sad to report, I should say. Back, not doing great.
I noticed you stretching
back and forth. No, I'm kidding. I'm fine. I heard that you guys were saying
there
was no sympathy for me if I was hurt on vacation.
No,
this is the Nana's reporting of
it's
your
accurate.
Words. Okay.
So the report, it had nothing to do with you specifically.
Because by the way, I was in way worse shape going into the
it than coming out.
We were not sure that it was a great idea for you to drive down on Tuesday. We thought you should have gone Monday.
Which led to a conversation of
Thank you.
any injury. This was a blanket conversation, not necessarily. Yeah. I know you have your little spies here, your little sparrows. Nana.
How cute is it that Nana
listens
to the show
listening.
even when I'm gone?
Well, she's the official Nana of the show. But I said what it was in reference to was any injury occurring during a vacation, no sympathy, barring extreme circumstances that wrecks a vacation or something like that. But any
like
minor
Field
injury,
Yates tripping and ripping his shoulder and needing emergency surgery.
yes, those type of serious things, fine, sympathy. That sucks. But you get a pulled muscle or something playing on a golf trip. I'm sorry, you were on a golf trip.
Yeah.
I was going through my 75th mock draft, so I think you win.
It was actually really nice. And we had, obviously, I know the people well, and we had a couple guys in from Chicago. One guy, Stu, who was a legend, and Stu and the Crust come in, and Stu's a huge Browns fan. And so we talked briefly about it, but we didn't really have to talk draft much, which was lovely. Great time. Big thanks to Jake at the Greenbrier.
He's a good man.
Great man, and hooked it up. It was unbelievable. It was fantastic. We had 2 of the 4-bedroom cottages, so everybody had their own room, everybody had their own bathroom, but we had common areas where we were able to watch some hoops and convene and hang. Courses were in incredible shape. First day, cold, windy, like mid-50s, but I'm talking gusts up to 40, 50 miles an hour. But we navigated through that, and then the second morning it was really windy and cold when we teed off at the Sneed. But by the time we finished the Sneed, it was beautiful. Everybody loved that course. That was everybody's favorite.
That's not on premises.
Yeah, it's just right across the street.
You don't have but like you go into that main golf area, it's not. You can't.
No,
access
it's not
it
from there. Correct.
You got to
it's
access
across the street,
across the way. Yeah.
But where, like, if you played the Meadows course,
yeah,
the Meadows course has holes that run right next to 17 and 18 of the Sneed course.
Yeah.
So we played the first day. We did the Old White.
So what do they got down there? They got the Old White.
Yep.
They've got the Greenbrier.
So they don't have the Greenbrier anymore. The Greenbrier is only like 6 holes or something like that now.
Oh, really?
So what they did is when they lost a bunch of stuff in the flood, so they got rid of the original Greenbrier.
It was 11 holes.
11?
Yeah, it's 11, and then
it's very strange. I don't know why they did this, because the Meadow, they built the Meadow holes, which are new, and then they added, like, there's a great stretch. They call it like the Amen Corner or Amen Corner. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are all original Greenbrier course holes.
Okay.
So you get, like, there's a real sweet par 3 over the river. There's a hole where you have to hit a short iron, then you hit it over the river to a very tight green. That were the original Greenbrier holes that were awesome. And yeah, we had a blast. So we did the Old White the first day in the wind. Second day we did the Sneed in the morning. Afternoon was the Meadow, but we did a 2-man scramble, so it wasn't like too much grinding. And then the last day we wrapped it up again at the Old White. And I will say, Team Zagura, consisting of myself, the great Andy Sims.
Oh, Simsy.
The Crust.
Still no hoodie out
the
of the
Crust.
Simsy, by the way.
We'll work on it. One of one. You're one of one. We'll get that. And then the great Stu. Stu and I, in fact. Now this is.
Well, hold on now.
Yeah.
There was it felt like we were going to get a reveal.
Yeah, just domination.
Yeah.
Domination.
Well, the kid was not happy about it from the jump.
Domination. So there were 12 possible points. So the first day was 2 matches, so 2 points. Me and Sims won, and then Pack and Zashin won. So it was 1-1 for the two teams. Second day, we won both of the best ball matches. Me and the Crust beat, who did we beat in the morning? Cook and Kid. No, Cook and Zashin we beat in the morning. And then the afternoon in the two-man scramble, me and Stu absolutely took it to Zashin and the Kid. So, but then they won. They won one of the other scrambles. So it was 4-2 going in the last day. But the last day was cool. We did it. You had two-man matches, but then everybody played singles. So there were really 6 points out there.
Nice.
And we went 6-0 on the last day.
Crushed them.
Brought it home. Yeah.
Jeez.
I was after 10. I was 1 under. I'd made 4 birdies and I had 3 3-putts.
Just striping it.
But if I was putting, I could have been like, it could have gotten the greens on the last day at the Old White after the winds blew through and it was beautiful, 65 sunny, perfect. The greens were rolling. I think they said 13.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Which is crazy.
That's zipping. Yeah, that's like.
But I want to go back, if you don't mind.
Oh, I don't.
To the scramble. So Stu and I take it to the Kid and Zashin to the point we closed them out. I think on like 14. We won basically from hole 7 through 14. We just won every hole. It was just, and then get me out of here. Like, so we leave before the other.
Like a mic'd up Kid.
Yeah.
I would have liked.
Oh, he was great. He was great.
Would have been very fun.
So then we have we go back. The other match was close, so they actually had to play like into the darkness. And so we went back, and we get back, and I had to go to the bathroom very quickly, wash my hands and all that. Kid and Zashin, they go up, and we're waiting for Stu. And so I wait for Stu, and I look around. I'm like, okay, I don't see anybody. So I walk up the stairs. As I walk up the stairs, I see the shuttle leaving. And then I come around the corner, and I see Stu. And so Stu and I start. I'm like, Stu, like, that shuttle just left. He goes, well, we'll just walk back. It's not that far.
Yeah.
I said, but let's wait for Zashin and the Kid. So we're waiting. And finally I call him. I'm like, dude, where are you guys? They took the shuttle.
Hold on. Like, drove it?
No, as in they hopped on the shuttle knowing we were all planning on
like
walking back together.
Gamesmanship, though.
No, as in like no sense of decorum or sportsmanship.
Oh, they just got
as
in. Good luck to you getting home on your own.
I can side with the Kid on that.
And then here we are, by the way.
Played.
Of course you would. Yes. No decorum, no sportsmanship, no class at all.
That lacking of class for the Kid? Yeah, I don't like to hear that.
No, it was a shocking.
I don't know if it's a lack of
class.
The kid turned around immediately. It's like, I told him we should wait. But Zashin insisted, so he put it on Zashin. So we go, and we're like waiting, and we call that like, oh my goodness. So we said, you know what? They said, oh, but we're going to send the shuttle back for you. So we don't need your charity.
Yeah, we're fine.
We're going to take a champion's walk back to our cottages, and we just walked around with one finger in the air all the way up back to South Carolina.
Did you have your clubs and walk with your clubs?
No, the clubs were there because we were going back the next day.
It's not that far.
And it's really not that far. No, but it was hilarious. But it was hilarious that they just like.
They're like, that's it.
That's it. Left us.
We've had enough.
So yeah, Stu was texting someone. He's like, he said, I hope we can restore a sense of class and decorum and dignity to the Cleveland area after that display of sportsmanship.
Oh my gosh.
So then we had a great meal at Prime 44 West. We invited Jake to dinner with us. And
nice.
Yeah, took care of him. There were some very funny moments that happened earlier that I'll share with you in a commercial break.
Sure.
That were early in the festivities.
They still do the bottle of wine?
They do not do that. No, haven't done that for a while.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I have one of them.
So do I.
Yeah,
it was good.
Great. Yeah, they used to have. There he is. Theodore. They used to have at the steakhouse at the Green Bar, which is named after Jerry West. They used to be like you could buy a bottle of the house cab, and they had their own label on it, and it was like $100-something, $115. It wasn't compared to the rest of the wine on the list. Not crazy at all.
And
it
very
was
reasonable.
Hand signed by Jerry West.
It was the best of all of the deals that I had down there, and there were some things that were exorbitant, and some things were reasonable.
That was the only deal in that restaurant. It's a great restaurant.
It is.
Great food, but that's...
Yeah. But I remember looking at that going, I remember pulling the waiter over when we did this, and I said, just so I'm clear.
Like, this is all I have to pay.
This is the price. It was, I want to say it was like 180 or 170 or something.
Maybe less than that.
I don't know.
Maybe, whatever.
Very reasonable.
For
less
Jerry
than
West's
2 bills for sure.
Autograph.
And I remember saying, and the bottle of wine. And I said, just so I'm clear, I get the bottle of wine signed by Jerry West at this price. Yep. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Run it back.
That's in my where I have bottles on display. That one is there.
Same.
So great meal. Then we go. A couple of guys want to go to the casino, and let me say, shout out to Pac-Man Jones. Big day, big night at the casino for Pac-Man Jones.
Nice.
So
was it you're with Adam?
His name is actually Adam Jones, but it is not the Cincinnati Bengals Pac-Man Jones.
Been amazing if it was.
So it's our guy who's a golfer with long hair and loves music festivals and has a sweet
all
golf
in.
game. But
That's
we call
amazing.
him Pac-Man. How could you
Right,
not?
you would.
You meet somebody named
That's
Adam
exactly
Jones.
what you'd call him.
He's
Yeah, of
Pac-Man.
course.
So Pac had a big night at the casino. So we go to the casino. We're all dressed like we would be dressed.
Yeah.
Maybe some nice red Vanley pants.
Sure.
Beautiful shoes.
Yeah. You dress
dress
appropriately.
hoodie.
Yeah. You're fine. You're safe.
Zashin had a very stylish European looking
he did.
coat. He was
he
dressed
did.
to the nines. He was great. He sits down and they bring the menu. He goes, "Is any of this beef grass fed?" We're like, "Get out, kindly leave, get out right now." So we had such a good time. So we go to the casino, and like I said, we were dressed nicely.
Yeah.
They're not letting us in.
Oh.
They're not letting us in
unless
we put on sport coats.
Yeah.
Which we didn't have sport coats.
No.
By the way, it's like
at the casino
11:30 at night. There's nobody there,
There's nobody
and you
there,
have
yeah.
8 dudes who are willing to walk in here
and going to throw some money around.
Yeah,
they can't have riffraff though. They're not having it.
So that's Pac-Man, by the way. There's Pac-Man on the right. Sims ate me. So they gave us these most ridiculous. I wanted the pinstripes. I got pinstripes. Ridiculous sport coats that you needed to wear over. None of them matched. None of them fit anybody. It was just ridiculous. And then here's the best part. Once you sat at the table, you were allowed to take your coat off. So you literally needed it to walk. And
just walk through?
As far as me from this monitor, that's how far you had to walk with a coat down a few stairs.
Here's my ruling on this.
Okay.
You know why I'm okay with it? Because they gave you the sport coats.
Yeah.
So, look, this is what you got to keep the riffraff out. That's what it's going to be.
But it is the riffraff's out. It's a private casino. You can only play there if you're
staying there. Yeah.
So the riffraff's out.
I think but it goes back to that one restaurant they have where they want you to wear the tie and all that.
Yeah, but that's the main dining room.
But I think they pulled that because we had all the kids all
suited up. You have to wear coats now.
We had the kids all suited up, and then we were there that night, and there were people who weren't.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, what are we doing? Yeah. So one rule, I understand what you're going for. I also think that there's a generational shift that's happened where dress now is much more casual than it used to be.
Yeah.
That being said, I think dress down is much nicer than it used to be.
100%.
So we're all kind of in the middle now.
Yeah.
In an athleisure world.
Yeah, in an athleisure world.
And there's no coming back from it.
No.
And I think it takes some adjustments for places, and that place is an old school place. It's going to take a little bit of adjusting.
So here's the other thing that they did there.
But the fact that they wore coats, I think I'm fine with it. Or they gave you coats that you were at the ready. It's not like they said, we don't want your money. You guys are scoundrels. Nothing. They gave you coats, and away you go. So I can't. I'm not going to crush them.
So we did. So we go in there. We sit down. We basically have, I think maybe 6 of us. Maybe two went home. So there were 6 of us. So we have a whole table to ourselves.
Yeah.
We got this dealer, Savannah, and we're like out of the gates, dude. It's ripping. So we're loud.
Let's go. Yeah.
We're having a great time. They also did another thing that I don't know if it's a little bit questionable.
I have my pen.
Overall, first of all, let me just reiterate. Grimbright, great experience. Highly recommended for a golf trip for guys. Go get a couple of these cottages. Call up my boy Jake. If you need it, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'll give you his information. Highly recommended. Couldn't be easier. It's 5-hour drive. Easy drive.
Yeah.
Easy. And we went, 3 people to a car. So we're chit-chatting the whole time. We listened to the Origins Curb podcast on the way home because Ash and Cook had never heard it. We're dying laughing.
Yeah.
It's great. So high recommend. They also did one other thing that I thought was a little weird in the casino.
I have the pen.
If you're sitting at the table actively playing and the waitress comes around and wants you ask for a drink, what is your expectation on the cost of that drink?
Nothing.
Certainly not $21 for a Tito's and soda.
No. If you're playing house. Yeah, that's it.
They need to work on that.
That's the standard.
Yeah, that's not okay.
If you're
We're like,
playing,
excuse me? When she's like, handed the drinks out like 21, 22, 23. Like, excuse me?
Yeah. And
so we're gambling here.
My hunch is you weren't playing penny slots.
It was $25 minimum.
Yeah. So once you're at a table like that, to me, I've never seen such a thing.
Never,
know.
Not a single person at the table had even heard of it.
Look, I know some casinos will charge, but if I'm paying $25 a hand, my drink's going to be about $8.
Yeah, it's going to be nothing.
Nothing is
and
what
I'm
it
going to
should
tip
be.
you for
I'll
bringing
tip
it
you.
over here,
Yeah.
but I don't want any expenses.
$21.
I
mean,
I've
I
never
do
heard
have to
that.
say, like, the bar in the main building, I remember the first week we were at the Greenbrier, the first year we were at the Greenbrier, and I'm like, I'll buy a round.
Sure you
I'll
will.
buy 4 drinks, and $121 later, I'm like,
that's
That's different, though.
That's
you should
different.
sip it slowly.
That's first of all a
sip it
gorgeous
slowly.
bar.
Yeah.
In the lobby of an
It's resort
elite
pricing.
resort.
Okay,
It's resort pricing.
It's upstairs from the casino
Yeah.
downstairs.
But I
Fair,
think the
fair.
fact that you're playing.
Yes, we're giving. Here's money. and-
Once you start playing,
I'm
I think
donating to the state of West Virginia.
So,
in the casino.
so by the way, so we're ripping and rolling. Everything's good. We're hooting and hollering. We're having a good time. There was some guy who was at the restaurant that sent me a thank you very much, sir, a warm tequila shot. Said this is the Pittsburgh Steelers shot, and I'm like,
oh God.
so I got that going for me at the restaurant, which was nice. So we're feeling good. We go in there, and we're having a great time. Everybody's winning. It's like blackjacks, 20s, dealer bust. Everybody's having a great time. We're quickly up. Basically, everybody's up 50% of whatever it was they put down, in a second. Then comes over this not like I say scary as in like if he was cast in the Jeffrey Dahmer movie, you'd be like, yeah. So he comes over.
The new dealer is a cannibal?
I didn't say that. I said,
Well-
but he had a look to him that said maybe this is a dangerous person.
Okay. Someone to be feared.
He comes over and we're like, no. We're the only people here. What do we need a shift change for? Like, oh, she's got to go home.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure she does.
the cooler.
So this guy comes over.
Here comes the cooler.
And he's just like dealing faster than I think like human hands can move.
Yep.
Bloodbath. 3 5-card 21s in a row for him, enticing people to double down against the 6s he's showing. Zashin's like, I'm out. We're like, we're
Did you get out
we're
quick?
done.
Did
We're
you get out quick
done.
before?
Yeah, before.
Good.
Now, some people ended up saying later. So then, after this guy comes and basically causes 3 of the people to stop playing,
Yeah.
magically, guess what? He's out. So this.
He flipped the collar when he got to the top of the stairs. Took the aviators on.
God, that's so good. That's so good. So this guy eliminates 50% of the people playing.
Yeah.
Not because we're just like we've seen this movie.
Yeah.
It's actually a movie. It's called The Cooler. William H. Macy's in it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. So then he's like 2 minutes later, like, wait. So they send this nice lady Helen over. And then Helen gets us all back. And then guess who shows up a few minutes after that again?
He's back?
But after we left, Savannah comes back, and then Pac-Man Jones goes on a real heater again. So like,
So they brought him in to
but
shut
she
you
was
down.
going home.
But we were told she was going home.
Going home.
Not.
No,
Right.
she was back. We were the ones going home. As a
This
matter
is
of fact.
the shadiest of shady operations.
There was one table, and they rotated 3 dealers to us in the span of 5 minutes, including
Yeah.
Dahmer. Wow. Which was nuts.
That is.
Absolutely nuts. And then she came back, though, and then Pac-Man. So apparently Pac-Man had one of the crazier strategies that was based on his, like, intuition. And at this
All right.
point, Pac-Man had imbibed and was maybe he was on an ethereal
been.
plane that we didn't
Yeah.
know about. So, like, they were basically like, he would bet, like, 25 this hand. And then next hand, for out of nowhere, he'd bet, like, 125. And then you go back to betting, like, 25. And then this next hand, 75. And then he's like, you know what? I think it's going to be a good one, 300. And he, like, all of a sudden, boom, bang, boom, he's up over $1,000. And they're like, he never lost when he did the big ones, and he lost every time he did a 25. And we're like, are you Rain Man? Are you counting
He
cards?
might be. Crazy
And
like a
he's like,
fox.
No.
It's like Alan. in
One
The
time he
Hangover.
meant to hit, didn't hit, and won because of it.
That's good, man.
The pack.
That's very strong. Good job out of you.
Great trip. Again, highly recommended as a guy's trip. We basically had all the courses to ourselves. I think we're a little bit pre-peak season, but it was perfect. We saw more people yesterday.
There's a
And the
Yeah,
hotel
coming
was
into the
packed, though.
weekend.
The hotel was packed.
was full.
Yeah, the restaurants were full both
ready to
nights.
go. Yeah. We're very fortunate in that, between that and, Nemacolin. And like there's places around here you can get to pretty easily with a drive where you can play great golf, do family trips, do guys trips, do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to get on a plane.
Yeah.
And it's nice. It's nice to have that proximity.
It was great.
So that's
and by the way, the new driver unleashed in the world.
Seems like it was ready. It was ready to be hit, huh?
It is long. You guys need to get fitted. Go see my guy Alex at the. It turns out I say windmill.
Windmill?
Yeah, I should say that. Apparently, I say windmill.
No, you said windmill.
I think you said windmill.
No, I said windmill earlier. Windmill Golf Center. Go there. I said windmill, which is
either way they're winning.
They're winning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Windmill.
Yeah, it's working.
Yeah, we're sending some people over there, but it was great time, great group of dudes. It's so funny. Like a couple of the guys are saying that when they got home, the wives were like, "Well, did anybody get in fights? Like fights?
No, dude,
this
don't
is
do
a guy.
this.
We don't do that.
Guys don't do that.
We just had a great time."
I won't. I'll tell you in the break. Well, the boys are at. The reason I'll tell you in the break is the boys are there. I don't remember it this way, and maybe it was this way for you, private school, but for me, we had no time off at Easter.
Well, my high school is a Catholic school,
so you had,
high school, yes.
Did you have like spring break, like locked on? Because some people do that. Some of the Catholic schools are doing that, where they have spring break leading into Easter.
At Lakewood, we always had
that. I don't remember.
Easter and spring break were together, no matter when they were.
They were together.
Okay. Like your last day of school was Thursday, Friday was Good Friday, and now we came back on Monday.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen at Olmsted Falls. When my kids were there, they got like Monday and Tuesday off.
So these clowns are off today and Monday.
Yeah.
So it's like a 4-day. It's like a 4-day weekend, and I'm like, now I understand it. I think the theory is you keep them in longer. You put all of these breaks in between. There's less time in the summer for them to forget everything, and you give them these little, off ramps to relax. But I'm like, we just did spring break like 3 weeks ago. We just did it, and now they're on another, 4-day weekend here again. So NBC had a sleepover last night, and at like 5:45 in the morning, and I had the windows open because I had a little air. Let's get a little air in here. I like a little cool breeze.
Nice weather.
Let's live a little bit. So around 5:45, and I'm up at 6 anyway, so it wasn't too big of a deal for me. But about 5:45, I started to hear like birds in the house, loudly chirping.
That's a nightmare for you.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is. And when you're groggy, it's even more so. So I'm like, do I even want to go in? I couldn't tell if it was coming from upstairs or downstairs. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, but it was loud. And it was raucous. Like they weren't getting along with each other, these birds, right? So I go upstairs. NBC's having a sleepover at his buddy's house. I go upstairs. It's his alarm. For some reason, he set his alarm at 5:45 in the morning to bird sounds. So this thing is blaring.
This feels like, I got to tell you something, this feels like a shot.
I think it is a shot,
It's
and
a
I'm going to
shot.
deal with him on the shot.
Calculated
This feels
maneuver.
like a shot.
So
this isn't an accident.
Everybody's now awake at this point. So I'm prepping my Columbus show, which usually takes me, by the time I get it sent to them, I'm usually done by 6:45, something like that. So I get that to them 6:45, and I send it up. And then I'm like, I didn't have to take the kids to school, so I'm like, man, I'm smoked. I think I'm going to lay down for about a half hour. And I go back to bed, lay down. Amy's laying down because she didn't have to take anybody anywhere. The two littles are running around. So I'm laying there, and then Bootsy comes in, and he's got $25. And he goes, "Here, Dad." And I said,
Uh-oh.
Did he get the Undertaker or Cody
I
Rhodes?
said, why? I go, what is this? Mom said I could. I said, when did you ask her? He goes, this morning. I said, still this morning. What are you talking about? She's asleep. She doesn't even know what she approved. And he goes, well, Mom said I could. And I said, I need to know what it is. And he goes, it's VC or something.
For Fortnite?
Yeah. And he goes, it's this or this. And I go, okay, but like, what does this cost? And he goes, $23. You can give me the $2 back. I said, actually, I'm keeping the $2 as tax on this transaction. I said, second of all,
it's a tariff.
You don't have it. It is a tariff. I said, you don't have it. So I said, who'd you get to go in on this? He goes, oh, Parker's going to split it with me. Beamsy's going to split it with me. So I said, go get Beamsy. No. He's fine. He trust me, Dad.
No.
I said, go get Beamsy. Beamsy comes in. I said, you're doing this? They said, you're going to do this?
You're on this
He's
deal?
like, yeah, Bootsy really wants it. It's fine. I'll do it. I said, you're doing $12.50 of the 25, half of it? He goes, he told me $2. So Then I said, go get him. So he comes back in. I said, what's this for? He goes, it's for a skin.
Yeah, is it? Who is?
And
it?
I said, a skin. I said, I don't know what this is, but I think this just means you can play with a different character. Is
Yes,
the way I
just a
understand it.
costume.
It's a costume. And I said, but just so I'm aware, you're going to pay $23 for something that does not change the game, how the game is fundamentally played.
Fact.
The game's the game. This is just you running around in a different avatar.
That's why people wear different clothes. Clothes are clothes, but
You're like his attorney already spinning it for him.
Uh-huh.
So I said, well, what's the skin for? And he goes, Sabrina Carpenter.
Yes.
And I said, I go, what are you going to? I go, so hold on a second. You're going to pay $23 so you can run around in Fortnite as Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah.
And then for what? What's the big payoff?
In a baby doll dress.
What's the big
Well,
payoff?
she has cool victory emojis that are her songs.
I guess.
Emotes, I should say.
I said, no. He goes, it's my money.
It's done. He's already done it. By the
No,
time
he is
handing
not.
the cash,
You know how I know he hadn't done it?
How?
Because he goes out of nowhere while I was prepping the Columbus show. He's like, Dad, what's your email password? What's your email? What's your password? I said, what do you need it for? Oh, nothing.
Not great at that. He's
No.
got to work.
So
on-
I shut
he
him
needs to
down.
talk to-
I said, no.
He needs to
He goes-
talk to Uncle Nate.
I was going
a
to say,
little bit.
come talk to me.
I said, hi. He goes, it's my money. I go, your money? Your money is my money. You have no money.
Right. You don't have a job.
Yeah, you have nothing. So anyway, no Sabrina Carpenter. I then about probably he was all in the dumps. So now
Tell
we're
him
like
will you get him the Undertaker?
potentially that. No, I wouldn't get him anything. If he wants to pay for it, he can with his money. So now I'm about 20 minutes before the start of the Columbus show. There's a guy at the door, and I'm like, what is like people drop
What
off
is
all the
going
time, but I know
on
it's like a
today?
circus. I was like in Nam today. I was knee deep in the muck just trying to get out alive. And I look at the door, and there's a guy standing there, and it's like Amazon doesn't ring the door. They come in all the time, but it wasn't them. There's a guy standing there, and he's got a box of Krispy Kreme donuts, like a 12-pack. I said,
Who are
I said,
you?
yeah. I said, what's this? Well, you ordered this on DoorDash. I said, who ordered Krispy Kreme? My wife goes, well, I got him donuts from the store, but they weren't any good. And I said, so your answer to that was, let's DoorDash Krispy
Krispy Kremes.
Can't we just go get in the
I
car
love a little
and get the
Krispy
Krispy Kremes? So it said she DoorDashed them. Then she goes, I said, what did this cost you? I said, she goes, oh, it's free. I said, honey, let me explain you something to you. I love you. DoorDash as a business ain't free. They wouldn't
No.
be in business long.
They go zero delivery fee.
Zero delivery
But then
fee.
all of a sudden there's many fees, and you tip the driver for
course.
his services.
So $20 for 12 donuts
Yep.
from Krispy Kreme that you probably could have got
So-
at the grocery store for $4.99.
Kayla,
What's a better deal, a $20 Tito's and soda or a $20 box
$20
of Krispy Kreme?
or a $23 for a Sabrina Carpenter or the Krispy Kreme.
Sabrina Carpenter.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah,
Man,
that's
out of
valid.
nowhere, Sabrina Carpenter.
100%, G-man. 100%. So
What is going on?
it does. I drive my wife crazy. I think it's because we come from maybe a different time, you and I. We're a little
Probably.
bit. And like, I don't know how your father operated, but I know how my father operated.
You know how mine did.
Okay.
Mine,
So
yours was
similar.
mine, except mine was a cowboy. Same.
So, like the other day, we were getting Chipotle for lunch, which is
I
5
need you
minutes
to
from our house.
Condense this to 60 seconds or move it because we have a guest here in 1 minute.
Oh, Trevor Sikkema going to join us.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want me to just stop?
I don't mean
yeah,
to
let's
ruin
save
it.
it.
I don't mean to
Let's
rain
save
on
it.
the
We'll
parade.
save it because I have a feeling I can relate, my friend. It's good to have you back.
It's great to be back.
You get a lot. Well, sort of. Those are your hot topics today, presented by University Hospital, the official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Trevor Sikkema, head NFL draft analyst at Pro Football Focus, going to join us coming up next. We're off and running Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Welcome back in. Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to head out on that Twisted Tea hotline, presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. He's Trevor Sikkema. He joins us, head NFL draft analyst at Pro Football Focus. Trevor, thank you so much for taking the time. Let's just cut to the chase. If you're Andrew Berry at number 2, what do you do?
I'm taking Travis Hunter at number 2 overall. He's my number 1 overall player that I have in this class. He has been wire to wire, and that's even since I elevated him to wide receiver 2 status. I was, not sure. Okay, he's a great wide receiver. He's a talented wide receiver. Does he have it all together? Man, this past season he really showed some major growth in that area as well. I love him as a corner too. I would give him the chance to play both ways until he proves that he can. That is how I would go about this. Very similar the way that you do it with an offensive tackle, right? Sometimes you have this conversation with tackles. You say, okay, is he a tackle? Is he a guard? And I'm often of the case to say, hey, let him fail at tackle before you move him inside to guard. That's what I do with Travis Hunter. Let him fail at being a phenom two-way player before I take either one away from him. And so I would be taking Travis at 2 overall.
When you say let him prove he can do it, what does that look like in your mind? Full-time on both, or is that receiver and maybe, part-time at corner, or vice versa?
Yeah, so I was always of the opinion that I wanted him to primarily be a corner, right? We've been having these discussions about Travis Hunter for a long time now. And my thought was always, I think he could play both ways in the NFL. But full-time both ways is a tough ask. It really is.
Yep.
I would have him play full-time corner. And then, about 10 to 15 plays per game, you're using him as a wide receiver as well, because in my opinion, that's the most realistic. It's hard to think that he could do the opposite, and that's not anything against Travis Hunter, but let's say he's a full-time wide receiver. He's out there basically every single snap as a wide receiver, and then you also want him to have 10 to 15 snaps as a corner. That's sort of a tougher ask, I think, for the rest of the team as well, because defense is so much about chemistry with your safeties, chemistry with the linebackers that are next to you, and just even your defensive coordinator and how much they can depend on you being a certain player in a certain spot if you're not able to practice on both sides of the ball. Because I think that's the thing. Game time is one thing, but practice time is another. But here's the thing with Hunter. He seems to have the work ethic and the desire, the drive, the passion to want to play both positions. And I think that as long as he has that and he knows the work that is going to go into playing both of those positions, even potentially as much as saying full time, I would let him. I would essentially put everything on his plate. Like, for example, training camp, preseason. I'm not saying that he's going to be out there for all the preseason games, but kind of going through the motions. And I would try to give him as much as he wants out there. And if there is something that's taken away from the other, then I'd be able to sit him down and say, hey, we want you to play both sides, but we want it to be a little bit less on this side of the ball, a little bit less on this side of the ball, whichever it is. So that's sort of the way that I would go about it. I have so much respect for not just the talent level that he has, but I've been trying to tell people this. The football IQ that this guy has, to be able to play both positions at such a high level as just a true junior, it is a story in and of itself and something to marvel at. So I would not want to put any sort of restrictions on him going into the NFL, and I would sort of let it play out and see where he fits best and how much on each side of the ball.
Trevor, I certainly don't have scientific data like you guys have at PFF to back this up, but in the watching him play last couple of years, especially this year, and watching as much Colorado as I ended up watching, which was quite a bit, I don't recall him ever losing a battle for the ball, offensively or defensively. It feels like if the ball's in the air and he's a corner or receiver, his mitts are getting on it. Is that just is that just in my mind's eye, or what is your study of him? Does it back that up?
I'm sure he's not a 100% contested catch player in either situation.
Yeah.
But to your point, it sure feels like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Earlier this offseason, I can't remember who I was talking to about this, but I said to them, Travis Hunter has the best ball skills of any cornerback that I have ever watched, and to be honest with you, will ever watch. I don't think I will watch another cornerback prospect for as long as I get to do this, hopefully 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know if I will ever see anyone have as good a ball skills as he has. Yeah. Because you watch what he's able to do on the other side of the ball, say on offense, right? Think of some of those spectacular spectacular catches that we have watched him have on the offensive side of the ball. Well, guess what? That same player then is in those situations on defense. And I think we have seen flashes of those there as well. And so when every single defensive coordinator that you listen to preaches about how important turnovers are, winning the turnover battle, going to get the football, getting our offense an extra possession, you have a player to where when the ball is in the air, when it is a 50-50 situation, he legitimately turns that into a wide receiver's advantage type of a situation. That also goes into just the rarity of why I want to make sure, for as great as I think he is as a wide receiver, and I really do think he is excellent, I want to make sure I'm getting something out of this guy at the NFL level at corner, because the length, the fluidity, the ball skills that he has, all of that is so rare for that specific position that I would want to make sure that I'm getting that out of my football team.
Talking with Trevor Sikkema on the Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea Hotline, official sponsor of the Cleveland Browns. Keep it twisted, Cleveland. And Trevor, all right, you got us on Hunter. We're with you. We like it. We'll be curious to see how the Browns choose to deploy. We've heard Andrew Berry kind of talk about him more as a receiver. If that's the case, you get Hunter first. What are you doing with 33? Are you staying there and taking another weapon for an offense that needs it? Are you hoping a quarterback falls to you? Are you trying to move up and get a quarterback? What would your plan be at number 33?
Yeah, I'd stay pretty aggressive with quarterback, right? I'm not exactly sure what the quarterback market is going to be. I'm not convinced that we get more than 2 quarterbacks in the first round. I still think Shedeur and Cam are going to be locked at some point. It looks like we're locking Cam Ward into one, but what happens after that, I'm not entirely sure. You know, people wonder, is this going to be a situation like it was in 2022 where we talked about all those quarterbacks, you know, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell, Matt Corral. Like, we talked about these guys getting drafted within the top 50, and when it was all said and done, one guy went in the first round, and then we didn't get another one off the board until the third. I don't think it's quite going to be like that, but I do wonder if there's going to be at least a little bit of first-round hesitation. So if that's the case, Cleveland's in a pretty advantageous situation, aren't they? Because they get to pick the player that they want at number 2 overall, essentially the top player that's not a quarterback off the board if we assume that Cam Ward's going to be gone. And then they'll have the opportunity to trade up back into the first round, because here's the other thing. The more I sort of listen to general managers over the last couple of months at owners' meetings, at the Combine, it feels like there's going to be a good amount of them that want to trade back. But it takes 2 to tango, right, as the phrase goes, and they're just not sure if there's going to be those teams that want to trade up. But for Cleveland, they could be that partner for one of those teams that really wants to move back, right? I know when people do mock draft exercises over at PFF.com and the mock draft simulator, the Minnesota Vikings are the team right there at number 24 that seems ripe to move back. Why? Because they have 4 picks in this draft right now. They have pick number 24, and then they don't pick again until 97 at the back end of the third round. You know that they want to acquire some more picks, and so it will be easier to convince them to move back to the top of the second round and for Cleveland to potentially move up there. I just think that they will – I don't know exactly what it's going to be for. Certainly depending on how much they weigh Travis Hunter and does he fill multiple needs for you. Do you say, okay, well, we still need a corner here. We still need a wide receiver here. I think that could go into it if they end up taking him at number 2. But to me, they should be very aggressive, and they should be ready. Andrew Berry should be ready to move up at a moment's notice when a player that they like is within striking range.
Trevor, if it's Cam and Shedeur, knowing what we think Kevin wants to get back to what he's always been offensively this year, and Flacco and Pickett would certainly lead you to that end. Which of these quarterbacks would you like for the Browns at 33? Take Cam and Shedeur out of it.
You know, I think I would like Milroe the most. I really do. I'd love to see Kevin Stefanski get to work with a quarterback that's got that type of dual threat ability to him. There's obviously the inconsistencies that go into it, but Stefanski, as we have seen from multiple coaches of the years, he makes things easier for quarterbacks. He makes an offense that's easy to thrive in. And for a while there, I had Jalen Milroe as my QB1 in this class, actually, midway through the college football season. And this was, to defend the take a little bit, it was right after that Georgia game and that Vanderbilt game when, man, Jalen Milroe was playing fantastic. And, he sort of regressed into what he was the year before. That inconsistencies reared its ugly head. But from all accounts, Jalen Milroe seems like somebody who understands that he is not a finished product and wants to put in the work to be consistent and be that type of a football player. So I would selfishly kind of love to see what Stefanski would do with somebody who has that type of dual threat ability, because we just see around the NFL, it's often those guys that have that ability that end up getting in that tier one conversation of quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like even guys like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, they got a little bit of scoot to them. They're able to keep the defense honest with their legs a little bit. Jalen Hurts is certainly another one that you would bring to the table in that regard. And these guys, when you can put stresses on a defense with your athletic ability, it just does so much for you. It opens so much of the offense. So selfishly, I'll take my QB3 as the answer to that question, and I'd love to see what Stefanski could do with a guy like Jalen Milroe.
If Shedeur were to slide into the 20s, would you, for Stefanski, would you prefer the Browns do that and go up and get him, say with Minnesota, as you kind of talked about earlier?
I get a little bit nervous with Shedeur in Cleveland simply because of, the outdoor, the weather, the wind, things like that can always play a factor when you're playing there at home in Cleveland. And the thing with Shedeur is, he plays such a clean brand of football. You can very much tell that even if you take the Deion Sanders name out of the equation, you can tell that he grew up around the game. He already knows how to read defenses pre and post snap. Now, it's not perfect, but he certainly knows what he's looking at. I think his mechanics are absolutely excellent. The footwork can be great as well. The pressure to sack ratio is something that you got to work with, but Colorado's offensive line certainly wasn't the best 2 years ago. And it's a little bit of, hey, I got to make sure that I get things done and we got to score a lot of points in order to win football games. So I can understand some of that as well. But my biggest gripe with Shedeur is I think that he has got an adequate arm for the NFL level. I don't know if he really has that rip it through the wind type of arm strength that you have with some of these teams that, play a little bit north, have some weather that they have to think about, being outside, all of that. And so, obviously there's a lot of things to like about Shedeur as a player, but I do sort of get worried a little bit about that situation in Cleveland, knowing that he might have to, have the arm that can play through the elements, if you will. And does that totally, knock a guy off your board? Maybe it's nitpicking a little bit too much, but overall, I think that Shedeur is a solid quarterback prospect. I think that he could be a good mid-tier starting quarterback in the NFL with a chance to potentially get into that maybe tier 2 conversation at his best. But I do worry a little bit about that with the Cleveland Browns as a landing spot for him.
Let's take quarterback out of it, Trevor. At 33, who are, because Nathan and I are weapons.
Yes.
We need a lot of them. So if it's Travis at 2 and they go back to the weapon basket at 33, who are some guys who you think would be available who maybe you like more than others that could be there at 33?
Well, I do like Cedric Tillman, who they already have. I think that he could develop into something nice for you as an X receiver. But if you're looking for a guy who's a little bit bigger, can play on the line of scrimmage, right? You have Judy, you then have Travis, and then I think maybe you'd want somebody who you could just feel good about playing that X position. A Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver from Iowa State, somebody who gives you a little bit more athleticism than a Cedric Tillman, but both of those guys then I think could give you the size that you feel good about playing on the backside of the line of scrimmage as that X receiver. I think that Elikai Omaner, sort of the same breadth of what I said there with Jaden Higgins. It doesn't feel like the league is as high on a guy like Elikai Omaner, but I certainly am. I really like him. I think he could be a great prospect as somebody who gives you size, will block his ass off. He's got a good track background to him, so he can at least threaten vertically while being a bigger-bodied wide receiver. So those are two that I think about in that situation. I wonder if, does running back come into the conversation there, right? I mean, do we start thinking about a Quinshon Judkins, a Caleb Johnson, a Travion Henderson, maybe even a Cam Scattaboo, guys like that at the top of the second round? If Omarion Hampton from North Carolina certainly gets to that point, you're thinking about him as well. But those are the wide receivers that I like there. I'm not so sure that Emeka Egbuka, Matthew Golden, Tetro McMillan make it there. I love Luther Burden, and it seems like of those 4 that I just named, and you add his name in there, he seems to be the most likely to get to the top of the second round. He's my wide receiver 2 in this class. There's maybe a little bit of redundancy there with him and Travis Hunter and Jerry Jeudy, but man, what an electric trio of wide receivers that could possibly be for them. So those are a handful of names that I think about maybe top of the second round. If you want to focus on weapons, those are the names that I'd focus on.
Trevor, one more, and back to the quarterbacks, not early. Let's say that the Browns decide that Kenny Pickett is their swing at the quarterback position this year, and that they've got him and they've got Flacco, and maybe they're going to look to that next group of quarterbacks, like a McCord or a Howard or even a Dylan Gabriel. What do you think of those quarterbacks, and is that maybe something that could happen in the late third, early fourth round for the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah, so I actually have Will Howard as my QB4 in this class. I like Will Howard. I really do. And I wasn't the biggest fan of him, this past year before he played for Ohio State. I thought the Kansas State stuff, okay, yeah, he's built for the NFL. He's got the NFL caliber arm. He's got the NFL caliber size, mass included. He's got some good scoot to him to give you a little bit of that dual threat ability. And so there was always some potential there with him, but I felt like the consistency wasn't there. As the year went on at Ohio State, it felt like he got a little bit more comfortable. We took a step back with that Michigan game, which was not great, but man, that college football playoff run is something that I love to watch from him all the way up to the national championship when he was playing as confidently as can be. And we've seen with a former Ohio State quarterback, again, a guy like C.J. Stroud, where, man, I remember watching Stroud's 2 years as a starter at Ohio State, and it always felt like I was just wanting more from him up until that final game when he plays against Georgia. And even though they lost against Georgia in that game, the confidence was at an all-time high, and he ended up taking that into the NFL, and he never looked back, it felt like. I wonder if that's sort of the case with Will Howard. I wonder if he had that national championship run, and we're going to get the best version of him moving forward. And if that's the case, this is a guy who I'm not going to be worried about the overall arm talent. He's got that durability to him. He's tough. He's got that ability to run as well, so he can be that extra option with his legs. And obviously somebody who played in some of the biggest games college football has to offer. So in that next group of quarterbacks, I'd actually say Will Howard would be my guy there that I'd target for him.
That would make a lot of people in this state quite happy if that were the case. Trevor, thank you so much for the time. Greatly appreciate it, and loan us a little bit of it today.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
All right, there he goes. Trevor Sikkema, head NFL draft analyst at Pro Football Focus. He joins on the Twisted Tea hotline presented by Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea, official sponsor of your Cleveland Browns. Keep it Twisted Cleveland. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. Official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns is, of course, Bally Bet. You listen to CBD on 850 ESPN Cleveland. were just talking in the break. Really big sports weekend. You've got the Crew game against Miami here tomorrow late afternoon, 4 o'clock on that. The Cavs are awaiting their opponent. They don't know who it'll be. They have playing games tonight. That's Atlanta, Miami on that one.
Did you watch any of, first of all, Paolo and the boys just put a beating on Atlanta? And I'm glad that the Cavs don't have to play them. They're a physical.
He's your boy. And
I do.
even
I
in the
love
colors.
him.
You like
I
the color
love him.
scheme, too.
It's a great color. I mean,
That's beautiful. Beautiful
it's a
royal
great-
blue and black. It's
a great
beautiful.
color
I didn't. I just don't care.
The Warriors. We just watched it because it was like
It was
when we were
on.
back and
And you were
we
like
all hanging out.
tomfoolery.
Yeah.
But like I watched the beginning of Warriors.
That was a great game.
Yeah, it was on late, so I wasn't
Yeah.
able to watch all of it.
Steph
but-
was unreal at the end.
Yeah, I watched the end of it, and I saw him hit the 2 threes and all of that. I do think it's working for them. But, like, for example, you can get into Dallas, Memphis tonight for about $8. Like, there just isn't
No,
a lot of juice.
the juice for it. Yeah.
And when I saw those ticket prices, I thought, well, that would be in Dallas. Maybe it was, something to do with, the Nico protest, whatever. But it's not. It's in Memphis.
Yep.
And you get into Atlanta, Miami for about $25 tonight. So, like, I don't know that it's working.
The journey starts this weekend, and 2 months from now we'll finish it up.
Yeah, it's long. It's a long go of it for sure. It's WrestleMania weekend this weekend as well. We were saying in the
Yes.
break, it's kind of
Lackluster. No hype. I think it's a very lackluster build. No, Rock is not advertised to be involved with it. I think you've got a really good match, the Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins with Paul Heyman. What's he going to do? I think that is actually a very good, intriguing match. Unfortunately, it's not for anything.
that's Saturday, or
That's the main event of Saturday.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily for anything. It's more kind of where the story goes next. Who's Paul Heyman going to end up with? There are some people who think maybe Paul Heyman's going to go with Seth Rollins, and then maybe they help John Cena the next night, and then you have kind of The Rock, Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, and John Cena and kind of a group together. I don't know. And then this John Cena Cody Rhodes match has, in my opinion, no juice. None. Zero.
Yeah, I didn't even. I mean, and I know you're plugged in. I'm not, but I was unaware even what it was.
Well, the problem is when you're going to do these things, Cena's making a movie. So they did it. Cena cut 2 promos about it, turning on the fans, and then, talking about Rhodes without Cody responding. Then they did one face-to-face where they kind of got to talk back and forth to each other for a little bit, and that was like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And then he gave him a crossroads and left, and that's it. Like when The Rock and Hogan wrestled at WrestleMania, and they didn't really have a chance to set up a bunch of stuff because I think The Rock was making a movie. They were like, they knocked him out with a hammer to the back of the head, got him loaded into an ambulance, and then Hulk ran the ambulance over with a semi-truck.
Right. We're a long ways from that.
You know what I mean?
Even last year with The Rock and Cody, there
was unbelievable. A lot of
in the
beating.
Or The Rock and
It was
Cena.
every week.
Yeah.
The Rock was making an appearance, like he came here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there wasn't that, for me being, selfish, my 2 favorite people in the WWE are not even on the card, The Miz and Chelsea Green, Broski's wife. They're not on the card. So it's just it's lackluster. The Rock makes the things all feel so much bigger to me. The Cena thing, his logic for it, I don't know. It didn't. I'll always be open minded and see where it goes, but it doesn't have. It really doesn't have all that much. To me, it does not have all that much juice to it. The Punk one has been done so well. You had this great thing with The Rock, and then it just kind of Rock hasn't even been around since the Elimination Chamber and the turn, and it just I don't know.
Yeah, very little. Last year the boys were like ready, and this year they haven't said a word.
Gunther, Jey Uso is not big. Like I said, the Punk one, there's just not.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Also think the timing of it's not great with Easter weekend and all that. That's
Agreed.
a tough one too.
I mean, I'll throw it on. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I'm going to I'll watch the main event Saturday night, and I'll definitely watch the main event Sunday night. It just could have been done, I think, better. And you have to work around people's schedules, and he was often hungry, making a movie and whatnot. But
it's also like when you're relying on guys like even The Rock, Cena that are this point in their career where they're not. This isn't their like
Full-time
gig.
gig.
They need.
Yep.
And I don't know. I'm naive. I don't know if Cody Rhodes has worked or not.
Yeah,
But, like,
yeah. He has.
Then they needed somebody against him in the company to ascend.
Well, WrestleMania is
Right?
part of bringing main events, big time people back, and the Cena thing I think could have been epic. And I'm still holding out hope that like maybe it will be that this is just another stop on the story that
They
they're
just
going to
never
tell.
let Cena cook. They just never let Cena cook.
What do you mean by that?
Like in his promos, they never really gave him the chance to cook against Cody Rhodes. Like they're protecting Cody Rhodes to the nth degree right now, and it's kind of
It watered it down. And they never really had the one face-to-face that wasn't even really that good of a face-to-face. And the way that they did it is they basically had Cody cook himself.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, what are you going to say? I have a lisp. And you're going to say that I'm not big enough. And you're going to say that I'm this and that and whatever. So it kind of took away anything that Cena could have actually said right away. So it was like, okay. And Cena was more talking about the fans than it was Cody Rhodes. It's just been done because the moment when he turned heel and did that was shocking and epic, and you had him and The Rock stand there, and then we haven't seen The Rock since. I don't know. I think it could have been red hot, and I would say that it is lukewarm at best.
Celebrate the excitement of the NFL Draft at the Crib, presented by Howard Hanna. It's April 24th and 25th and 26th. Cleveland Browns alumni Josh Cribbs and other surprise guests will be on site at this exclusive open house event to help you draft your dream home in Westlake, Ohio. Check out the events tab on the Browns Facebook page for more information. When it comes to buying and selling, every client is a top draft pick with Howard Hanna. Second hour of the program coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Bally Bet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus after you bet your first wager of 10 or more. Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. It's hard. We are at the and we've done mock drafts and mock drafts and mock drafts.
Yes.
Next week we're going to be doing a show and we're going to have drafted a first-round pick, and who the hell knows what else?
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's finally here.
Yeah,
Draft week is finally here.
Let's go. Giddy up.
What did you make of Rodgers' appearance yesterday on McAfee?
I'll be honest with you. It would make it. If I were the Steelers, for example, I'll only speak for the Steelers, it would make. I would be like, okay. It would be like when Larry refused the tour of the house and Susie yelled at him and said a bunch of things. He's like, okay, fine, I'll take the tour. And she's like, no, I'm turned off.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm turned
Kindly
off.
leave.
Kindly leave.
Yeah. I would, if I was Steelers, I'd be like, okay, fine. I'm not. I don't.
All right. I got two
you've
things.
Proven to be you're just going to be a headache. Even if you're here, it's going to be miserable.
Do you think it's possible that both sides already know that he's going to Pittsburgh?
So why not just do it?
I don't know. I don't know. But I just think they must know. I think at the very least they've been told there's a very good chance I'm going to be playing, and if I'm going to be playing, I'm going to be playing for you.
The weird thing though is he said he wants to play for a Super Bowl contender.
Well, I think you could talk yourself, if you're him, you could talk yourself into them being that. They get two big time weapons. Their defense is great. And if you're him and you feel like you're not that far removed from what you used to be, put me with that team and that defense, and they win all the time without a franchise quarterback.
Would you not say that the Jets had two big time weapons and a great defense?
But the Jets have no culture.
He's not going to run Arthur Smith's offense.
I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me that Pittsburgh would go this far along with this and not have been in on any of these other guys. Why weren't they in on Darnold? Maybe
they were. Maybe they felt that they were priced out.
There was no reporting of that.
Yeah.
And that's a beat that's well covered. Like if they had interest in other quarterbacks, it was only ever just him.
Yeah.
What did you make? Did you hear the audio of him describing like what the Jets did with him?
Yeah, like why would they make me come in for a 20-second meeting? I mean, I would say that there's probably some, from his standpoint, validity to that, but also some people say I like to do this face to face. I don't know. It's been a while since the juice has been worth the squeeze, and it feels like he's just going to say the same things about wherever he is that it doesn't go well. Who's he liked in management?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's been the same problem throughout. Yeah. So that was one of the big discussion points while you were out. The other big discussion point was kind of the Travis Hunter stuff, and then the Shedeur Sanders. And I've made this argument throughout the week, and I made it with you before. I just think Shedeur is low-hanging fruit. Like, it's just really easy to talk about for anybody in the content business. Like,
yes.
You start talking about him, it's 20 minutes, it's easy. But then there also is stuff that's fed into it. For example, this weekend is the Colorado Spring Game, and they're retiring his number.
Outrageous.
And Travis Hunter's number this weekend.
Travis Hunter won the Biletnikoff.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the best corner, the best DB? He won
the Thorpe and the Biletnikoff and the Heisman, of course. Yeah. No Mike.
Sorry, he won the Heisman.
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
But
even those guys
unique,
usually they make those guys wait a few years anyway. Like they don't do it right away.
Yeah.
Even Heisman winners.
But a Heisman winner doesn't. To me, like he's even more unique than most Heisman winners in that what he did.
Even amongst the greats, he's did unprecedented. Yeah.
So get it. But like, if you're going to tell me that like Cordell Stewart. Who won the? Didn't
the
they?
enemy's not up there.
They tied for a title.
Darian Hagan's not retired.
About
He was the
Rashawn
quarterback.
Salam.
Rashawn Salam is retired. Won the Heisman. Cordell Stewart is not. Michael Westbrook not.
Who was on the team that won? Didn't they tie for
No, they won the national championship.
Yeah.
It was. I think they maybe split it with Georgia Tech. Which
Yeah, it was a
tells you
split.
How
I think
different
Salam might
college
be the
football used to
only
be.
one.
Yeah.
Salam wasn't on that team though. He was on the '94 team with Cordell Stewart that beat Michigan on the Hail Mary pass in '94. He was on that team. The '90 team that won it. Darian Hagan was the quarterback. Eric Bieniemy was the running back. That was that group there.
Eric
at that
sleeping
time.
with Bieniemy?
Yeah.
Like
Here's where I am with this.
it feels like you're setting him up for unnecessary things.
And Dion said that this week. He said this is about Shedeur. It's not about Travis. It's only about one guy. It's about Shedeur. And his argument, he really didn't have one, but then the athletic director of Colorado said they are so responsible for the success that we had here, and that this was a program teetering, and they've lifted all of us up, those two players. So Colorado people, guys who played there have weighed in. Linebacker Chad Brown, legacy matters. The past matters. Never want to take away from anything. Number 2 or 12 have done. Amazing players, but to act as if CU football was invented 3 years ago ignores the greatness in the past and the players that produced that greatness. I would never minimize the impact of 2 or 12. They are amazing, but this timing is poor. I agree. I think that's the issue. It's the timing, not doing it. Darren Shiverini, who is a wide receiver
Former
at CU.
Brown
Former
wide
Brown,
receiver,
too, right?
way back when.
Yeah. Legacy needed some time to be evaluated, and proper steps should be taken so history is preserved properly. Congratulations to Shedeur and Travis. No doubt they are etched in Colorado football lore, but let's make sure we honor those that came before. And I mean, I certainly get all of that. This is where I am with retired jerseys and I think retire the jersey, don't retire the number. So what I mean by that is you want to put somebody's number in the rafters or put them in, in the circle at the horseshoe or wherever you play college football or even the NFL, put the number up there, but still issue the number. There aren't enough numbers. Like Florida State has not issued number 2 since 1990.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great number.
Great number.
Be cool to wear 2 at FSU. But they haven't because Dion wore it, and no one's worn it since. And I think sometimes, unless it's an instance of like Jackie Robinson with 42, I think it'd be cool to issue it. I even think about it something like with our guys. Like, might be kind of cool for like if Nick Chubb in his prime wanted to wear 32, and then you just put a patch that says like JB 32 on it. So that little kids go, Dad, who's JB 32? Well, son, that's Jim Brown. Why don't you sit down and let's have a conversation?
Or you
about
make you make a unique patch for each person, like a Jim Brown patch. You make a Dion patch on that too.
Yeah.
Of course, it would be so much cooler.
Isn't that cooler?
And then I'm pretty sure we came up with this years ago.
Yeah, probably.
You and I, 100%.
Well, we have a lot of great ideas. They
We
come
do.
and go. But yeah, it seems like kind of a no-brainer. Like quarterback
put a
wants to wear
banner
14. Hey, the banner's still in there. The number's up there. We all see it.
Yeah.
And I think that like with the Yankees have no single digits left. No one has worn number 3 in 100 years.
Yeah.
For the Yankees.
Right, and people don't know why.
Like you're going to get to a point where people don't know who Lou Gehrig is.
Yep.
They'll just know him as ALS. Like they won't even know it as who he was.
Yeah.
Like who the hell's going to remember 25 years from now? Is anyone you going to know Joe DiMaggio is?
Here's to
Issue
you,
5.
Joe DiMaggio.
Put a little DiMaggio. I like that
agree.
silhouette idea. That would be really cool.
silhouette
Like the
of him.
silhouette of
Yeah.
the player with the number.
Yeah.
Put it on the. Come on.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We're going
It's
to retire
like a
so many
badge of
numbers.
honor.
Somebody's going to wear infinity.
You're right, Kev. I mean, they deal with that in college football. They deal with that all the time, in
That's why
part
you have
because of
8 people
retired
wearing the
numbers.
same number.
But that's why they have the dual numbers. Like you had,
Which is
you had 2 guys last year wearing 2 at Ohio State. You
a
had
joke.
Caleb Downs and Emeka Ibuka both wearing 2.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's tough. All right, we will do the top 10 wide receivers since we talked about this. So we have the top 10 wide receivers since 2000. We will do that. I believe it is also a mailbag edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. In fact, that is. So get those questions into Gibbe at Browns_Daily on the X platform, and we will get to those as well. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case for you. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. This was from Brian Diardo of CBS Sports. He rated the top 10 wide receivers since 2000. Since 2000. So as I see this here, Gabe, this list that is below here is the guys on his list?
Yes, in no particular order. Now,
all right, I have
several notable wideouts were left off.
Yeah.
Well, I have an issue right now.
There we go.
I have an issue immediately.
Okay.
I can't do this. You have asked me. You've given me the 10 players they ranked. You want me to rank them and see how my list compares to this. I can't do it. Do you want to know why?
Because your list would include someone who's not on this list?
No.
Why?
No. I'm just going to, every time I say a name, I want you to add a finger to your hand. Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Mike Evans. Larry Fitzgerald. Tyreek Hill. DeAndre Hopkins. Andre Johnson. Calvin Johnson. Julio Jones. Steve Smith. Reggie Wayne.
There's an honorable mention that was 11 in this.
Oh, well, all I can do is read the prompter.
Then give me the 10. Give me your 10.
Here's the other problem, though. He's got an honorable mention, and it's since 2000, and one of them isn't Randy Moss. No Justin Jefferson, no Jamar Chase.
I have three names here. Yes, where are they?
Where's Randy?
Where's
On
Randy
the
Moss?
cutting room floor, Chad Johnson, Anquan Bolden, A.J. Green, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson.
Where's
Randy
Moss?
Was drafted in 98. He played his entire career in the 2000s, minus 3.
Drafted since 2000.
Oh, drafted since
Drafted
2000.
since 2000.
Okay, this says top 10 wide receivers since 2000. You're saying drafted since 2000.
Yeah, this says
now we're getting the real
here's a look
truth
at
on
where
it.
Jones, this is in honor of Julio Jones, ranks among other receivers who were drafted since 2000.
All right. In my list, if I were inserting today, and they would have the ability to move up to number 2, but I would have Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase as numbers 4 and 5 on my list. They should be on. The fact that they're not is outrageous.
Yeah, they would both make this clearly. Calvin Johnson would be number 1.
Well, we have to rank them. Did you do yours?
Well, I'm just
No,
doing
you're
this
doing it
now.
now.
I mean,
Okay.
I guess
All
I
right.
can do it. Here, you do yours. You've
I did
done
mine.
it. You did the
That's
prep.
I did mine.
Go ahead. Give me your 10.
All right. Number 1.
Go 10 to 1. Well,
10 to
no,
1?
1 to 10. 1 to 10. Yeah.
Well, number 11
okay.
is Reggie Wayne for me. Reggie Wayne, 6-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first-team All-Pro. Good numbers. 1 time led the league in receiving in 2007. Also played with Peyton Manning.
Mm-hmm.
He's number 11.
All right.
DeAndre Hopkins for me is number 10.
Was there a season where he was the best receiver in football?
Never led the league. He had 2 1,500-yard seasons. He was a 3-time first-team All-Pro. His best season was 115, 15, 72, and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah. 5 Pro Bowls over a 6-year span, led the NFL in touchdown receptions in 2017.
Yep.
Okay. 9.
Then I've got Steve Smith. Steve Smith, only a 2-time All-Pro. He did lead the league in receiving. He was the comeback player of the year in 2005, 15, 63, and 12 that year. Longevity, toughness, all of that. And I
8th
also
all-time in receiving yards.
What? 8th all-time in receiving. I just didn't want him to be one of the last on my list.
Yeah.
For a variety of reasons.
Yeah. Number 8.
Number 8, I went with Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson, Hall of Famer, 2-time All-Pro. He had back-to-back 1,500 yards receiving seasons where he led the league. He had a 4 out of 4 straight years and 5 out of 6 where he averaged over 93 yards receiving per game. Very good. Never a double-digit touchdown season, which is why he's where he is.
Number 7.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitz.
Larry Fitzgerald. Believe it or not, 11-time Pro Bowler, only 1-time first-team All-Pro. Led the league in receptions twice, led the league in receiving touchdowns twice. At the age of 32, he went 1,215 and 9, 1,023 and 6, 1,156 and 6 at 32, 33, 34. So just the longevity of his greatness gets him right there to number 7
in
for
the
me.
2008 playoffs. This is where they.
Oh man,
he almost
against Green Bay.
Yeah. No, against the but then against the Steelers in the Super Bowl, obviously, almost single-handedly brought him back and won.
Number 6.
During the postseason.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all right. The 08 postseason, 30 catches, 546 yards, and 7 touchdowns.
Unreal. Then I've got Devontae Adams at 6, 3-time first-team All-Pro. He had a run from 2020 through 2024, 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He has 6 different double-digit touchdown seasons. He's got a year with 1386 and 13, a 1374 and 18 when he led the league. 3 straight All-Pros, 1553 and 11, and 1516 and 14. Pretty dominant.
Yep.
Pretty dominant.
You're in the top 5.
Number 5, Mike Evans for me. And he is a 0-time first-team All-Pro. I'm going to put that in there. And people would say, well, how could you do that?
First ballot gold jacket is what he's going to be.
11 years in the league, 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He has 6 double-digit touchdown seasons as well. He's done it. It doesn't matter. Whatever quarterback he's with, it doesn't matter. He produces, period. End of story. He is a stud. Beast.
All right. Number 4.
Number 4 is where I go Julio Jones. Julio, 2-time first-team All-Pro. Twice led the league in receiving. He had a stretch where he had 5 straight seasons of over 1,400 yards, 6 straight seasons of at least 1,394 or more, which is crazy. 6 straight seasons. 2-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro. Only 1 double-digit touchdown season all his career, but I think he was a monster.
You're in your top 3, buddy.
Top 3. Tyreek Hill. Just because the speed and his stretch of when he was really, really dominant and just what I feel like people would fear.
I like how I think that's it. It's the fear of it. Yeah.
5-time first-team All-Pro, which is interesting. His numbers, in some cases, not as good as some of these other people, but the back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons is pretty good. And he's just the fear that he would strike in defenses with his speed.
How many time first team All-Pro?
5.
Yeah. that does it.
Which is wild, though.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is a 0. You're talking about 1 for Larry Fitzgerald, 2 for Andre Johnson. It's kind of that's wild to me. Antonio Brown, 4-time first-team All-Pro, 4 in a row. He had, again, a 6-year stretch where he was as good as anybody, period.
His off-field stuff since has made people forget the greatness because it was nuts.
Yep.
There's a 6-year stretch that's unreal out of him.
And, I mean, pretty soon, I think Jefferson and Chaser would be 4 and 5 for me, and I think they could move up pretty quickly to number 2.
Yeah.
And then number 1, obviously, is Calvin Johnson.
Yep.
Calvin Johnson, 3-time All-Pro.
Do you remember when he walked into Hoff's
Oh, yeah, he looked
Hall of Fame
like he could
party?
play
He
immediately.
walked in and you were like,
Look,
he could play
right
tomorrow
and be
ready to go. Looked the same.
Yes, crazy.
Yeah. Looked absolutely the same.
You got one out of one of this guy's 11.
What did he get? Calvin Johnson, that's it?
No, he had Fitzgerald 1.
Oh, that's nonsensical.
He had Megatron
We're not serious
2.
people. You're not a serious person.
He had Antonio Brown 3. He had Julio 4. Andre Johnson 5. Reggie Wayne 6. Steve Smith 7. Mike Evans 8. Hopkins 9. Adams 10. And Tyreek Hill honorable mention.
That's just silly. I don't understand what his metric is.
I
This is what I think.
Tomfoolery.
Yeah. All right. We'll do a little mailbag coming up next on a Friday. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. For the first time ever, witness Inter Miami take on 2023 MLS Cup champion Columbus Crew at Huntington Bank Field. It's tomorrow. Secure your spot to see some of the MLS's biggest stars. Visit huntingtonbankfield.com/crew versus Miami to get your tickets today. Time for a healthy dose of the mailbag. Hello, Gibby.
Gentlemen, hi.
Hi, buddy.
Shout out to a gentleman. He was actually our waiter last night at Stino di Napoli in Rocky River.
Oh, baby.
Had a little Italian with Mr. Rob McBurnett, former director of Browns Communications, now the VP of Communications for the Columbus Crew.
He's a good man.
Looking forward to it. Knock on wood, the weather, the rain, looks like it's going to move out by the time the match starts at 4:30. Going to be a little dicey in the morning, but it's going to continue to get better as the day goes on. It's not awful.
Yeah.
So shout out to Alex. Had some great service and some great food.
It's just rain all weekend.
Good wine.
Ugh, is it really?
Yeah.
No, not tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have some windows.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sunday. My bad.
Yeah, but it looks like it's I guess it's a matter of Sunday looks all right.
Sunday's all right for Easter.
Yeah, 61 though. 69 tomorrow, 88%. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Then
it'll
next
be
week
out.
looks decent.
The hourly forecast has it down to like 30, if not lower, after 5 o'clock. So
Okay.
We'll be all right.
Opening the pool. We're getting the pool all opened up today. Getting it rolling.
I
the
look
water
forward to
truck
my
there.
annual
Let's
picture
go.
of the man holding court in. the
Oh,
pool
he's
hot
already. He wanted to jump. I pulled the cover off of it last night, and he was like, and I'll do that periodically throughout the winter just to make sure everything's okay. And I pulled it off. Can I jump in? Like, dude, no. You cannot jump in that. It's filthy.
Not
Beyond
yet.
that,
Yeah.
there's also antifreeze in it, so that it
Soon.
doesn't. So there's that. So, like,
Why don't you
we'll
hold
wait.
off?
We'll wait. Let's do the chemist stuff with Mike, the pool guy, first before we jump in, buddy.
You can tweet your questions to us at Browns_Daily. David Gray tweets at the show. Can Bo Bishop explain the reason for his disdain toward all things Bird? Also, BGSU Gibbs, how do those Browns PJs pants fit? David, I was trying to find your information, and and by we, I mean Zagura ripped open the box and threw everything away. I missed your information. But I wanted to say thank you. The PJ pants are unbelievable.
They're
Wore
great.
them last weekend. I lived in them last weekend. It was great. Crawled around on the floor with a grandbaby all weekend. Beautiful.
Living your best
Good
life.
times.
Did you see G-Man? How about
Yeah, I
this?
did. G-Man's a
Come
legend.
on, that's unbelievable.
It's beautiful. I can't wait. It's going to be very
It's
helpful.
gorgeous. It's unbelievable what he did. All right, I'll do this as succinctly as possible. Chicken Massacre in 1984 is the first instance. So Little Bo bus drops off, long driveway to walk up, and as I'm starting to make my way back to the homestead, I see feathers and blood and death and destruction everywhere. You've no doubt heard the phrase running around with a chicken with their head cut off. That happens. So what happens was a bunch of stray dogs had gotten into our chickens and crushed them. So there were chickens in various states of alive and not. Truly was a massacre. I mean, ridiculous. And I remember my dad, I ran up to my dad, and I'm like, Dad, what happened? He goes, this is what's happening. One of the chickens, like in my mind's eye, had like its head wrapped around my dad's arm and was like, ah! And I went, that's it. So that was,
Hey, Dad, way to scar your
that's
kid.
one. Number two, there was a neighboring farmer who thought it would be a good idea to have some turkeys in north central Montana. He just thought they were a lovely bird. So he wanted those back. But the problem was he fed them. So my brother and I were horseback, and we went for a little ride, and we had hopped off the horses. And sure enough, we run into his pack of wild turkeys. Now, if you see a turkey now, like if you see them, and they're out and about, if you see them, they're gone. They bolt. They don't want any part of you. Well, these, he wanted them in the wild, but essentially he fed them grain. So if they saw a human, they came after you.
Thought it was food.
So they come after us. I take off running, trip, get pecked to beat hell by the damn turkeys. Incident number 2. There's been at least 2 instances of me fixing fence where a hawk has taken my hat off of my head because I was too close to its nest. So there's a lot going on. I've been attacked by a swan on a golf course. I mean, it's
Kyoko?
not Kyoko, a white one. No. Tim May was with me the legendary Ohio
Yeah.
State beat writer at the Dispatch, and most recently Letterman Row. He was with me, and I'm like, I'm not hitting that ball. So he got his driver out, and he was going to like sword fight the Swan. The Swan stood up like this, and Tim sprinted. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about, dude. Like, so people have seen it. It's well earned. Well earned. Awful.
I
That
just would
explains
love
a
to
lot.
see you fence posting. What kind of a hat were you wearing? A cowboy hat
Yeah.
and a hawk? Just
No. Ball cap.
ball cap, okay.
Ball cap.
And
Yeah.
the
When I
hawk
was
jacket.
fixing fence, yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd get on a 4-wheeler, and
This is in Montana.
yeah. Well, yeah.
of course.
No, not Hudson. No.
There's a lot of hawks.
There are
everywhere.
hawks, yeah.
There are hawks
No,
everywhere.
but it was on the Ponderosa, and I was on a 4-wheeler, and basically what happened is I'd leave first light, and then I'd have lunch, and then I would come back at dinner, and that was it. I was out there all day fixing fence. That's what you did. And if you get a little too close to some of their nests, that's what they do. So I had one of them take my hat right off my head. But come on, dude, we have rules.
Yeah.
A little bit.
nature.
You'd like to
Yeah.
think. Trey Carey tweets at the show, worst financial advice you've ever received.
Save your baseball cards.
It's fair.
That didn't work. I've had those things. Those are in my room forever. My dad brought them all out a couple years ago. NBC was checking the prices on them. He's like, Dad, he actually felt bad. He's like, Dad, I feel none of these are worth anything.
None of them.
None of them.
No, not from the 80s. No, from
80s
the
or
70s.
90s.
Great. Oh, yeah.
because all of our dads said, don't throw away
Don't
your
you can't,
baseball
'cause
cards.
I had
because
Mickey Mantle,
Everybody
56,
had Mickey
yeah.
Mantle.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, no, they're not worth anything.
No.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is.
I'm not going to say the worst financial advice I've ever gotten.
Choose to abstain.
Choose
That's
to
why I went
abstain.
baseball cards.
Yeah.
There's been others, but I'd rather not share.
Moving on then. Browns
I don't
backers,
throw
North
anybody under the
Jersey.
bus.
Yeah.
Any chance you guys can get out of the yoke of Gibbe on Friday, June 6th? Join us for our annual golf outing in Vernon, New Jersey. By the way, Gibbe cordially
Pine
invited
Valley?
as well. What's
I
that?
don't
If it's
believe-
Pine Valley, we'll be there.
I don't believe I will be out of the state on June 6th.
If it was Pine Valley, would you be out of it? Could I get you out of the state? If somehow the North Jersey Browns backers were playing Pine Valley,
And we could borrow
we could
a peach
play.
for the day?
If I had a Peach on standby, yes.
And even then, I'm not sure you're getting out.
That's a week before the due date, brother.
I understand.
So
So
if I
if
had
it's
a-
Pine Valley,
but
you
if I
may
had-
never get another chance.
If I had a Peach on standby, yes.
Peach over Peach back.
Yeah, because if
you're
it was
safe.
if something went crazy, I could be home in 90 minutes.
You think from North Jersey to here?
And a Peach?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah.
Joe tweets at the show, I need planning details for this golf trip, Z. Who should I contact? Also, when are the CBD boys coming up to Avalon to play? Avalon's at it's like in Warren, Ohio. It's
Oh my
basically-
gosh! Yeah,
it's
that place.
It's
That place is
beautiful.
supposed to be awesome.
It is. Yeah, it's supposed to be great.
Yeah.
I played that course a long time ago in the Corey Stringer Memorial Golf Outing,
Oh, wow.
long before the complex that's there now was there. Great course.
Who asked that question, Gibbe?
Joe at J_Ross_85. Lots of underscores.
Did he? Am I on it?
Oh, looks nice.
Nope.
No. All right. Tell him Jake Fullerton, Gibbe.
Here, I'll forward you the message.
Jake's great, man.
Our good friend Jared Luganbill. You get the opportunity to throw batting practice against any 3 MLB starting lineups in MLB history. Which would you choose?
27 Yankees.
Or he said any 3 players. Throw batting practice. So, I'm trying to just get, watch him.
I think I could
bombs.
strike Babe Ruth out.
McGuire. Peak McGuire.
Okay.
I'd want to throw BP to
It's
Peak McGuire.
like Zagur and his quarterback dream.
I don't. I think the sport is so different. Not now. I mean, I'm not any sort of peak athlete, but do I think Babe Ruth could handle high school pitching? No, I don't.
Yes, he could.
I don't think so. I think that we've come so far athletically in 100 and some years. It's 100 years ago, man. Look at those guys. What are we talking about?
I don't know. He's the great
Did they
Bambino.
train? He might be. I'm aware. I'm just saying, what kind of trainer are they doing?
I don't know. It was 70 years ago. I don't think you're getting anything past
It's
Ted
100
Williams.
100 years ago.
Not getting anything past Ted Williams.
Babe's 100 years
Yeah.
ago.
I still think he's the great Bambino. No way.
By the way, they got 4 courses there at the
Brown's
Avalon.
Therapy was some fantastic oldie but a goodie.
place
A
is
bow
beautiful.
running from the chicken or from the turkeys.
No, they're awful.
He does have a
Yeah,
question.
that's
If there's
terrifying.
one dream scenario for drafting a running back, which running back would you draft?
That's a good question.
It's a loaded running back draft.
A dream scenario would be somehow Ash and Genty falls to 33 and you get to draft him. That would be a dream scenario. But I'm into Henderson. I want dangerous people. I like Henderson. I like Judkins.
I think Judkins could be really
like
good.
both of them.
Judkins runs with no one's Nick Chubb. Nobody.
Yeah.
But and he doesn't have the speed. He's just not. But he has the one cut, get up field ability that I really like, and he runs with the violence. Judkins does.
Yep.
I think they're both really, really good, though. I'd be thrilled with either one of those guys.
Yeah. I like Omari and Hampton, too. I just think that I don't think he's going to be there, and I think you if you wanted your choice of the Buckeye running backs, I think you might. Bobby time.
Hey, Bobby! Hey, Bobby!
Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button for your life?
Rewind.
Rewind for sure.
Rewind.
Yeah.
You get to relive everything.
Though theoretically, you could also make adjustments.
Yeah, you could rewind and right wrongs, but you could also relive great moments.
Yeah.
Pausing.
Just got to
And you're
hang.
just like this.
Pausing, it's still going to continue. Would you rather have a tail or a third eye?
Excuse me?
That's right.
Third eye'd be handy, as long as it wasn't. I don't need a tail. I mean, that's absurd. But a third eye I could use. Throw that in the back of the head. I got kids. Kids try to attack me all the time. Those clowns.
So this is an eye that we get to place wherever we want.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, why not? There's no
Whatever
limit
you
on the
want.
placement of the eye. Put it wherever you want. I wouldn't want it to be visually seen, but if like I could camouflage it behind hair in the back, and I could still kind of keep an eye on what was going behind. Yeah, I've always had a where I grew up, like Old West was always part of my growing up, like the heroes of the Old West and the villains of the Old West, and I always loved Hickok, and I always felt like, God, that sucks, man. He had his back to the door.
Oh, yeah.
Always have your back. So in my whole life, if I sit down, even with the family, we go out to dinner, whatever, even in our house, my back is opposite door.
So you can see.
It's always in my head.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if I would put it, if I'd want it there. Or what if I think it'd be cool to have an eye in your hand because you like reach around corners, see what's going on. You could, this you can see behind you. Real
I like
quickly.
that reach around the corner.
Yeah, what's going on out there? Yeah.
That's what you get with Bobby. It's all in
Right.
play.
Oh, boy.
Think about it. I think that's a big, like if you had an eye in the palm of your hand, that
Could be very helpful.
very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
G-Man with a hand cameo.
Yeah, there it is. That could be it could be an eye.
Bobby wants to know your favorite righteous gemstone quote. You may
Y2K,
only pick
we
one.
threw caution to the wind.
Dusty Daniels. My mom's out on it. She's like,
Well,
I'm
no,
on
it's
it. I'm
not for Nana.
I told her that.
It's not
Not
for
even
Nana.
close.
No.
I did say season 2 and 3 get like lighter than season 1.
Yeah,
season
it's
1's
still,
a little
though.
dark.
Dude, it's a lot.
And then she's like, why does he like so much full frontal?
Yeah, there's a lot
She's
of
like,
it.
they're not attractive people.
No. Yeah,
And
that's
she's,
not
she's
for her.
like the guys with all their fat jiggling around.
What's like a show that I think she would enjoy that is like well, she'd like that Gilded Age. She should watch that. That's a fun show.
She's fascinated by Uncle Baby Billy.
What? Who
Yeah.
isn't?
But at that, she hasn't even
more-
met his like, because doesn't he have, maybe
He's
I'm
a real
misremembering
jerk
it.
in season 1.
Doesn't he have like a kid that is troubled that he basically ditches?
Yeah. And he
okay.
also,
Yeah.
she gives birth to Lionel in a porta potty.
Yeah.
And he's got to go into it to get him. He pulls the umbilical and it breaks, and he's got to go in there and get him out of the porta potty.
It's terrible. Yeah. No, she hasn't seen any of that, and she's already out.
Yeah.
I was like, but on a season 2, he's pretty good. He's pretty fun.
Yeah. He's fun after 1. I think they just realized what they had in him, and they're like, oh, we can lean into this. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns. Gibby and the Break used a line from Top Gun, the original.
Right.
This week, I want to say on, I don't know what channel. I want to say, was it Reels? One of those channels on my cable that I still pay for.
Okay.
They had a 2-hour documentary on the making of Top Gun.
Wait, what?
That had Bruckheimer in it. It had the naval aviator who they used as like the reference point, as the go-between, like them and the Navy, and what they could get away with, what they couldn't. It was awesome. Awesome. Like the making of Top, it was 2 hours. I want to say it was on Reels is what it was, but they talked about the real guy who was like the best pilot in the Navy, who kind of had, plenty of confidence, and how they used him as like the go-between between them and the Navy. And he was like always there on set, what they could get away with, what they couldn't, the things that bothered them. Like there's no Top Gun trophy for fighter weapons school.
Really?
Yeah, there's no competition. They thought it was a joke. Like, because you're training to go to war. It's not who finishes first. It's who comes home alive. Like,
yeah, right.
We don't award championships.
1 minute.
And they thought that was so silly. It was awesome. You guys would love it. You'd love it.
All right, I can't wait. By the way,
really good.
2 o'clock this Sunday on CBS, PGA Tour Originals, Tiger 2000. Interviews with Tiger about his dominant 2000 season and other golfers and highlights. It's going to be nuts.
Bubba Watson was trying to say that Scotty last year was better than Tiger in 2000,
Well.
and I just wanted him to be evaporated. Just stop.
30.
Oh, my
30.
God, this is going to be
Just
amazing.
stop.
Just watch. Well, just tell them to watch this.
Stop. Like, come on. All right. Draft week. Next week. Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Fine.
It's about time. The next level's coming up next. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter,
Easter,
everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.